Ready to have your mind blown?
Always.
This deep dive, we're tackling the fabric of reality, and let me tell you, it's a wild ride.
It is. David Deutsch, the author, he really dives headfirst into some seriously big ideas. Quantum computation, parallel universes, you name it.
Yeah, he doesn't mess around. But what I find fascinating is how he connects these four totally different areas.
Hmm.
Quantum physics,
Hmm.
epistemology, evolution, and computation. Like, on the surface, those seem about as related as, I don't know, gardening and astrophysics, right?
Right, completely different fields, but Deutsch makes a compelling case that they're all woven together. They're the four strands, as he calls them, and each one supports the others in this really interesting way.
Okay, so we've got quantum physics, which is always a trip. Then there's evolution, survival of the fittest, Darwin, the whole deal. But epistemology, that one sounds a bit intimidating, to be honest.
It's basically the study of knowledge, like how do we know what we know? And Deutsch argues that understanding how we acquire knowledge is key to understanding reality itself.
Okay, so it's not just about what we know, it's about how we know it. I like that. And then there's computation. You might think, oh, computers, but Deutsch takes it way beyond that.
Exactly. He's saying computation is fundamental to the universe, like woven into the fabric of reality itself. It's not just about silicon and circuits, it's about how information is processed at the most basic level.
So we've got these four strands: quantum physics, evolution, epistemology, computation. And Deutsch is saying they all point toward a much grander, more interconnected reality than we usually imagine. And this is where things get really interesting, because he brings in the concept of the multiverse.
And not just as a theoretical possibility, but as a necessary consequence of quantum physics.
Right, the multiverse. The idea that our universe isn't the only one, that there are countless others out there, maybe with different laws of physics, different possibilities.
And Deutsch doesn't just throw that out there. He grounds it in experimental evidence from quantum physics. Like, he uses that example of a single photon passing through a semi-silvered mirror.
Right, where the photon seems to interact with itself, which, unless it suddenly learned how to clone itself, implies that it's interacting with versions of itself in other universes. It's like it's bumping up against these other realities.
Precisely. It's like the photon is aware of these other realities and behaves accordingly. That experiment, among others, suggests the multiverse isn't just some abstract idea, it's a tangible reality with observable effects.
Okay, that's already blowing my mind, but then Deutsch takes it further. He's like, hey, this multiverse, it's not just a sideshow. It's actually crucial for understanding how quantum computers work.
And he's not talking about just any quantum computers. He points specifically to Shor's algorithm, which can factor incredibly large numbers way faster than any classical computer.
Because the amount of computation involved in Shor's algorithm, it's mind-boggling, right? It would take a classical computer longer than the age of the universe to do what Shor's algorithm can do in, like, a snap.
And that's the key. Where is all that computing power coming from? Deutsch suggests that Shor's algorithm is tapping into the resources of multiple universes to perform these seemingly impossible calculations. It challenges our whole understanding of what computation even is.
That's a huge question, and it makes you wonder, if our universe is tapping into other universes for computation, what else might be possible? It's like we're part of this vast network of universes, all sharing information and resources. Kind of makes you think differently about knowledge itself, right? How we learn about the world and all that.
Absolutely. Deutsch argues that knowledge creation, it's like a form of computation. Testing explanations, weeding out errors, refining our understanding. It's similar to how algorithms work.
So it's not just about passively absorbing information, it's about actively processing it, testing it, refining it. I like that.
And that leads us to another fascinating idea from Deutsch that our experience of reality, well, it's a kind of virtual reality.
Wait, hold on. Virtual reality, like we're all plugged into the Matrix or something.
Not quite the Matrix. But Deutsch argues that our brains, they're essentially super sophisticated computers creating a simulation based on the data they receive from our senses. Think about it. You never actually experience the real world directly, only the version your brain constructs for you.
Okay, yeah. When you put it like that, it makes a weird kind of sense. But if our brains are creating this simulated reality, what does that even mean for the nature of reality itself?
That's the million-dollar question. Deutsch brings up the Turing principle, which states that any physical process, even something as complex as the human brain, could theoretically be simulated by a powerful enough computer.
So you're saying, hypothetically, with a sufficiently advanced computer, we could simulate an entire universe, complete with, like, conscious beings who believe their simulated world is the real deal.
Exactly. It's a mind-bending thought. And it suggests that maybe reality at its core is more about information and computation than just matter and energy like we traditionally think.
Okay, so we've got multiple universes, brains as computers, reality as a simulation. Where do we go from here? What other mind-blowing ideas does Deutsch have up his sleeve?
Well, he tackles one of the biggest concepts in science fiction, something people have been fascinated with for ages: time travel. But he approaches it from a scientific standpoint as a consequence of his multiverse model.
Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting. But time travel, doesn't it always come with those pesky paradoxes? What happens if you go back in time and, like, accidentally prevent your own birth?
Those paradoxes, they come from thinking about time as a single linear line. But in Deutsch's model with the multiverse, time travel wouldn't be paradoxical at all.
Okay, I'm listening. How does that work?
Imagine you build a time machine, right?
Yeah.
And you go back in time to meet your past self.
That would be awkward. But wouldn't that create a paradox? Now, your past self knows about the future, could change their actions, maybe even prevent you from inventing time travel in the first place?
That's where the multiverse comes in. Deutsch proposes that when you travel back, you're not changing your own past. You're entering a different universe, a branch of reality, where things happen slightly differently, allowing for your arrival from the future.
So every time you travel back, you create a new branch of the multiverse, new timeline. So there's no paradox because you're not actually changing your own past. You're creating a new one.
Exactly. Deutsch's multiverse model of time travel, it eliminates those classic paradoxes. You're interacting with a different version of yourself in a different universe, not messing with your own timeline.
Okay, I think I'm starting to wrap my head around this. The multiverse as this vast web of possibilities, and time travel is like navigating between those possibilities.
Yeah.
But isn't it all just theoretical? How could we ever know for sure if something like time travel is even possible?
That's the heart of how Deutsch views the link between theory and reality. He argues that our current inability to do something, like time travel, doesn't automatically make it impossible. Maybe we just haven't overcome the technological and theoretical hurdles yet.
So it's like saying, just because we haven't figured out how to travel faster than light yet, doesn't mean it's inherently impossible.
Precisely. And this circles back to Deutsch's emphasis on good explanations. He says a good explanation should be hard to vary, meaning it's so fundamental, so well supported, that it's difficult to imagine it could be any other way.
So a good explanation is like a strong foundation. It can support further investigation, maybe lead to breakthroughs we can't even fathom right now.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of Deutsch's work. He's not just presenting theories, he's encouraging us to fundamentally rethink how we view reality, to be open to possibilities that seem outlandish today, but could be commonplace tomorrow.
It's like he's saying, hey, let's not be limited by what we think we know. Let's push the boundaries a bit.
Exactly. It's refreshing, really. He's not afraid to tackle the really big questions, even if the answers take us to some pretty strange places. But that's the thing about these really big paradigm-shifting ideas. People often resist them, even when there's compelling evidence.
Yeah, it's like that old saying, truth is stranger than fiction. Maybe we're just wired to be a bit uncomfortable with stuff that seems too far out, even if it's backed by solid reasoning.
Think about the resistance to Darwin's theory of evolution, right? Even now, so many years later, some people still have trouble accepting it. That whole idea of a common ancestor with apes, it's a big one.
It challenges our place in the universe, doesn't it? It's like, wait a minute, we're not the center of creation. Reality doesn't revolve around us.
Exactly. And Deutsch argues that this resistance to change, to clinging to old ways of thinking, it holds us back, stifles progress, limits our understanding of what reality truly is. But he goes even further, challenges something even more fundamental, even mathematics.
Wait, really? Even math? Like
Yeah.
2 + 2 = 4? You're saying that might not be a universal truth.
Deutsch suggests that even mathematical truths might not be absolute, that they're contingent on the laws of physics in our particular universe. In other universes with different laws of physics, math itself could be different.
So in another universe, 2 + 2 might equal 5. Or maybe even, I don't know, a purple elephant.
It's mind-blowing, right? It challenges our most basic assumptions about logic and reason. But it opens up incredible possibilities. The multiverse, it's not just a variation on a theme. It's a tapestry of unimaginable diversity, where the very laws of nature could be rewritten.
So where does that leave us? What are we supposed to take away from the fabric of reality?
I think Deutsch wants us to embrace the unknown, to be open to the possibility that our current understanding of reality is just the tip of the iceberg. It's a call for a revolution in how we think about the universe, about our place in it.
Question everything. even the things we take for granted. Time, the limits of computation, even the absoluteness of mathematics. It's about exploring the edges of understanding because that's where the real breakthroughs happen.
And who knows what we'll find when we venture out into the unknown? That's the beauty of it. Every answer leads to more questions, which leads to more exploration and more discovery. It's a never-ending journey.
It's like we've been given a map to this vast, uncharted territory of the mind, the fabric of reality. It's an invitation to explore that territory, to question our assumptions, and to really embrace the excitement of discovery.
A journey well worth taking.
If you're ready to have your mind blown wide open, definitely check out The Fabric of Reality by David Deutsch. It's a challenging read, sure, but it will stick with you long after you've finished it. And that's it for this deep dive. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next time with another mind-expanding topic. Until then, keep questioning, keep exploring, and most importantly, keep searching for your own truth.